Hey guys, what's up? It's me. It's episode 2 of volume 6 of RWBY, which is really weird to think about how we're actually on volume 6. I keep wanting to call it volume 4 or volume 5 because it's just 6 is just a weird number. It doesn't stick in my brain for some reason. I'm very excited. I don't remember what this episode is called, and it's not going to do like the hover thing. I do know that the tagline for it was like the past doesn't remain hidden, so I am a little scared. This is probably where all the Oscar angst starts showing up that they kind of hinted at. I'm not too fond of where they seem to be going with it so far. I mean, it's only been one episode, so I can't really judge, but it feels like it's a lot of the, I don't want this, and I don't want Osmond to have control. I'm my own person, and it doesn't seem like Osmond really knows how to share consciousness. Like, he doesn't tell Oscar to say things. He just is like, let me say it. And it's like, Osmond, accept the fact that you're McFucking dead, and just let the boy talk with your advice. Like, come on. I'm watching this a little bit later than I did last week, so I do know a little bit of things. I do know that that blonde girl from the trailer showed up, and like the one woman with like the fan shows up in one of the hooded figures. So I do know that, and I know that Arnold was screaming about something having to do with Day of the Dead, but I'm mostly just excited to see my grandma. I think it said in the subtitles that her name is Maria. I love her. She is my grandma. I love her so much, and I'm ready. Also, a huge shout out to Flynn of RWBY Nation, just because for putting up the song Rising and Miracle, because that's just been my bop this past week. I was getting ready to record this video, and I was just singing along to Miracle aggressively to the point where like someone had to knock on my door for me to be quiet. So, okay, let's do this. I'm gonna sing shamelessly, so brace yourselves. I love this anime ass opening. Thanks, college Wi-Fi. Stay close, move fast. The darkness cannot last. No hope, no path. Not a dream to catch. We cannot wait. Trust the way we're made. A sparrow's born to fly the mountains tower. The river knows to reach the sea. The rain will help the flowers be. We're the same, you and me. The lightning does to take advice from anyone. When the doesn't learn to stand. Sunny stay, we'll find a way. We'll catch that dream together some way soon. We're rising like the moon. Shout out to my cat for just showing up. She's never done that. Taco, do you like the song? Yep. No one's surprised. Ooh, nice shaky people though. Ooh, her crunchy grim arm still looks so good. Yeah, no one's surprised. You're sopping wet. Chill. Was she in there for 2 weeks, or is this like a flashback? Because if she was in there for 2 weeks, she should be dead, even with a grim arm. God, I like the shine that they put on her head, though. Someone somewhere was into that. Me stumbling out of finals week. God, the chains on her fucking dress are so detailed.
Are you okay? Where did you...
I'm hungry. Also, that sounded like Emerald's voice actress.
We need to take the relic to Atlas?
You knew this.
That's what I
Oh, okay,
said.
flashback. Wheatstone. Packing.
Got to be joking. Bright side. we finally get out of this house.
Well, trust me, I'm not crazy about it either. And without the Spring Maiden here,
Is he
to seal the
scruffier?
relic back in its vault, it's our best option.
Atlas may be the safest kingdom we have at the moment, but their borders are closed. General Ironwood called everyone back.
Not everyone. The city of Argus is a ways north of us, and it's the primary trading port
Argus
between
Limited.
Anima and Solitas. They've got the largest Atlas
Solitas.
military base
Clever.
outside of the kingdom. There's no way they'd leave it abandoned, and if we play our cards right, I think there's a good chance we could convince them to escort us straight to Ironwood.
I mean, we do have the missing heiress to Schneedas Company.
Ex-heiress, actually.
True, true. But if there's a chance of reward money, I say we go for it.
Hopefully,
I love
the
these
first
girls.
option will suffice.
Ozpin.
Glad to see you're feeling better.
Likewise. And while I'm sure we could all use more time to recover, I'm afraid time is of the essence.
Did they explain
Right.
everything to Blake yet?
As long as that thing's out in the open, its power could fall into the wrong hands.
Speaking of, what does it do exactly? Crow
Thanks.
never really told us.
Of course. The Relic of Knowledge has a wonderful and incredibly dangerous ability.
Oh, it grows. Okay, I was like,
User can ask any question, and the lamp will provide an answer.
oh no.
Intriguing.
That's incredible.
Indeed.
Does it have
However,
like
it's
a
not
limit?
without drawbacks. The lamp cannot tell you of events that have yet to happen,
That's good
and it will only ever answer 3 questions
for one person.
every 100 years.
Oh shit. That's the limit.
Well, I guess that's not so bad. Adds a lot of pressure, though.
Then let's put it to a vote. What should we ask first? Oh, can we ask for more questions? Can we ask for more questions?
They're not wishes.
I'm afraid you won't be able to ask it anything at the moment. The questions were used before I sealed it away.
I love her.
At least now we know what it is. And we'll be sure to keep it safe.
I was gonna say as it's in the snow. Oh, the dust, yeah.
Great. This is just great. We're stranded. We lost a third of our party, and we have gained a defenseless old lady.
Mood. Ooh.
My name is Maria Caravera, and I am not defenseless.
I have a
I'm
gun.
just a little hard of hearing, and blind without my eyes, that are in desperate need of repair.
Ruby can help.
Okay, I'm starting to see your point.
Yang, knock it off, will ya? If we lose our cool now, we'll just be inviting even more Grim.
Does that even matter? Apparently, we've been attracting Grimm since we left Haven.
Okay, but
and
like,
how could I forget about that? What happened to no more lies and half-truths?
Yeah. I think it's time we got an explanation.
Ozpin, fucking ask before you take over your local
Did
boy.
not lie to you.
Well, you certainly didn't tell us everything about the relic.
Please.
Angry
Now's
squad.
not the time.
No, we're
Yes, it is.
I want to know why
You're
you
past
so
the
much telling us
time.
Everything.
Here comes the scene from the
It is
trailer.
true that the Grimm are attracted to the relics. It's faint but undeniable. I believe it has to do with their origin, but I'm not entirely sure. Regardless, I feared that making you all aware would only add anxiety and negativity.
It's just caused a problem.
Option.
You know, I'm getting real tired of people choosing what's best for me.
Is that
Mood.
why you chose to lie to everyone about Lionheart too?
Ooh.
Yes, as a matter of fact, I believed the kingdom of Mistral deserved better than the truth. And I believed Leonardo deserved to be remembered for his lifetime of service, and not the unfortunate missteps he made in his final years.
Missteps?
He got people
What
killed.
Lionheart did was reprehensible. I am not here to argue differently.
Oh, those footsteps.
Does one lapse in judgment truly negate all of his good? Do we not all have regrets?
It was a pretty big lapse in
You may
judgment.
have met Professor Lionheart, but you never met the man he was before Salem found him.
Look, we're supposed to be in this together. You can trust us. We're not gonna turn our backs on you.
Do you really think Leo was the first?
Ooh.
That he didn't say those exact same words to me?
That breeze.
I'm sorry, but you have to understand that my behaviors are backed by experience. I'm not saying that I have reason to think you will betray me. I'm saying that I have reasons for the things that I do, the secrets I keep. The reason I... Where's the relic?
Right here. It got scattered in the crash.
Please, hand it over.
No thanks. Hard pass.
So all those times you talked about having faith in humanity,
You're
that
lying.
was just for everyone else?
That's not what I meant to suggest. Miss Rose, the relic is a powerful item, and I simply feel as though it is my burden to bear.
But
You don't have to bear it
you said it
alone.
couldn't do anything right now.
Why does it matter who carries it?
Is this some Frodo?
I need you
Lord
to
of the
listen
Rings?
to me.
What?
Buzz?
Hurry!
Oh.
He's trying to stop you.
Stop her from what?
He's afraid he'll find out what he's hiding.
That's the thing. Yep.
Her name is Jen. Say her name to summon her.
Jen.
Name?
The one from the trailer, the lamp. The wind. What? Looks like the moon inside almost.
Jin?
What?
Holy shit. Is this some fee shit? That's a big lady. A big kind of naked lady.
Wonderful. Tell me, what knowledge do you seek?
Here comes Neo. Here comes Neo. Maybe. Oh no, it's Cinder. Yeah. Damn it. Ha! Update your picture. There was Roman's hat that showed though. Spider webs. Charlotte, perhaps? All I'm thinking is Arachne from Soul Eater.
That's far enough. Okay.
Can you talk this time, though?
You're little Miss Malachite?
Miss Malachite?
I'm little Miss gonna skin you alive if you ever take that tone with me again. Looks
valid.
like your life savings.
It was somebody's.
Cute. What do you want for it?
I'm looking for these travelers.
Volume 3.
Well, sweetheart, you came to the right place. A little jumpy today, hmm? You know, I used to be afraid of spiders. Want to know what I did about it?
Killed them all?
Learn to kill them.
Oh no, the world needs spiders. I just made the spiders work for me. Give us a week. We'll find your travelers.
How do you still have your scroll?
Little miss, we already know where they are. That big guy asked about them last week.
I know we know. But what we don't know
is who she is.
Who here in Mistral might be asking about her.
I am Jinn, a being created by the God of Light to aid humanity in its pursuit of knowledge. I've been graced with the ability to answer 3 questions every 100 years. You're in luck, as I'm still able to answer...
That's enough!
2 questions
2.
this era. It's a pleasure to see you again, old man.
Ruby. Please. Don't.
Hey.
Oh.
Do whatever you think is right, kiddo.
She's like 16.
Jinn?
No. DreamWorks face.
What is Ozpin hiding from us?
No!
Shit.
What? What? Weiss? Yang?
Blake.
Blake! Ruby! Ruby?
They each called out for their partners.
Once upon a time, there stood a lonely tower
It's beacon architecture.
that sheltered a lonely girl.
It's her from the trailer.
Named Salem.
What? What? I recognize those JoJo lips anywhere, Aaron. Ozpin created her, didn't he? Didn't he? He's made more mistakes than any man, woman, and child on this planet. Because he made the worst thing on this planet. A maiden in a faraway tower. It's that kind of fairy tale. So plot aside, shout out to RWBY. Goddamn, Snow is hard. Snow is hard. And not only did they get the sound effects for that right, because that was some nice crunch, especially when Oscar did the crunch sound in the snow. But the footsteps, goddamn. At the comp team. Bless you. You are doing work. You are doing very good work, and it shows, and it very much pays off, because it would have been weird if there weren't footsteps, and you guys nailed it. So congratulations, you guys did awesome on that. Also, whoever did Nora's little thing in the beginning, thank you for continuing with the, like, I'm still reeling from the character animation in this fucking show this season. Like, we have Ruby last episode who's just going everywhere and rocking up onto her toes and doing her little gestures that are so Ruby and so full of life in her character, and now we see it with Nora, who's like Ruby on steroids, and it's so cute, and all her little it's so good, and it's so in character, and I love how much that is the style of the show. And like, you see that, like, that action style in the earlier volumes, but you can really see it now, and I love it, and all the little facial expressions that they each have. And then each of the girls, each member of Team RWBY all has very different responses to Ozpin and everything that he's saying. They all have very different reactions. You can see Yang is more angry. Blake is more guarded. Weiss is like a combination of shocked but like and distrustful because she's used to being turned on. And then there's Ruby, who, despite everything, still puts her hope in people, still trusts in people, and she thought she met a kindred spirit with that with Ozpin. She thought that maybe this was someone who also, despite everything, still saw the good in people, and then she finds out that he doesn't trust anyone. That it's all a front to make them believe that they can trust in him, and she's clearly hurt because she thought that she could rely on someone who just turns out to be another person blocking her out. I'm really happy with this season so far. I feel like the writing has gotten a lot better. Like, it's gotten a lot better. Like, in the span of these 2 episodes, RWBY went from not even being on my top 5 characters to being in my top 5. Like, she went from being my least favorite in Team RWBY back to being my second favorite in Team RWBY in the span of 2 episodes. Because in volumes 4 and 5, she didn't get a lot of development. She was just there. There were no flaws. There was no development with her, really. She was just there to be there. And now we're actually getting her character again. It's like, oh right, this is why I loved RWBY. This is why for 2 volumes in the beginning she was fighting with Pyrrha for my favorite character. This is why I love RWBY. Like, and I'm really glad that we had to see that with her. And then Yang is such a relatable mood. It's like, we're a defenseless lady, we're stranded, we lost half our party, which is a mood. And shout out to Crow for trying to be reasonable. I don't think I actually saw him reach for his flask the whole time. I'm both proud and impressed. And then Maria, my grandmother. I love her. She's so good. She's just doing her best. I also love how openly they're talking about all of this shit with this old lady right in front of them. Like, they know that she's probably, like, not up to something, that she probably knows more than she's letting on, but they're still so open to talk about the relic and stuff. And, like, the little things that they had written, so, like, Ozpin didn't pick up the relic before he stormed away. He was too defensive. He thinks of it as he doesn't think really beyond himself, it seems. Like, he's so focused on being guarded that he neglects the things he's supposed to be taking care of, which is interesting. And I'm glad that they're bringing up communication errors, because so frequently communication errors are used as plot devices, and it pisses me off, because it's like, if you two just talked, this wouldn't have happened. In Volume 3, if Ironwood had told Ozpin, like, hey, I'm entering a robot girl in a competition to see how she does, maybe don't put the potential Fall Maiden with magnetic powers against her, then, you know, Penny could be alive, Pyrrha wouldn't have been traumatized before she died. Like, little things like that could happen. You know, little things that happen as a result of no one talking to each other. So the fact that they're calling him out, like, hey, I hate that whole thing of, oh, I didn't tell you because I was trying to protect you. It's bullshit. It's bullshit. It's just like, you didn't know how to say it. You didn't want to say it. You didn't want to put yourself in that light and put yourself in an unfavorable view. That's what it is. It's not that you wanted to protect them. And I'm glad that Team RWBY's calling them out on this, because they're sick of it. They're the product of that. Like, they're a bunch of teenagers. Like, when you're a teenager, that is, like, the most you're ever going to hear. It's like, oh, I didn't tell you because I didn't want to hurt you. Or I didn't tell you because I'm trying to protect you. And it's like, as a result, you ended up unprotected and hurt. And with a lack of trust. If you had been upfront with it and been like, hey, I'm letting you know now, so that, because it's definitely going to come up later, that this powerful relic will draw Grimm to your location. It's like, I'm telling you this so that you can be aware of it. And he's like, oh, it's gonna add extra anxiety. They're anxious anyway! At least let them know what they're going through so that when Grimm show up, they're not like, oh my god, this is happening. and they're not caught off guard later. Let them know what they're getting into, at least a fair amount. You don't have to tell them everything at once for fear of breaking and melting their brains, but maybe share a little bit of information there. I'm sorry, Ozpin, you're getting no sympathy from me. This is why at the end of Volume 3 I was like, Ozpin can go to hell, and honestly I was kind of like I was ignoring that a little bit more during Volume 4 and 5 because he seemed like he was being pretty cool with Oscar, and he was like, you know what, I made a mistake, but he's doing the same thing over and over again. He's making the same mistakes. History repeats itself, and thankfully it looks like Team RWBY's not gonna let him do that shit again, because that is not cool, and it's garbage. Also, huge shout out to Oscar for fighting against that, but also it does explain why he was behaving the way he was. That's why Ozpin would always take over. He wouldn't tell Oscar things to tell them, because it seems like when Ozpin is, like, speaking, when he's, like, personified within Oscar has access to, like, his memories. Like, it's almost like a fusion, Steven Universe style, except, like, you don't control what memories you show and which ones you don't show. So, like, that's how Oscar's getting the thing. That's why he's so hesitant to call upon Oz and give him that control. It's not that he wants to control his body, although I'm sure that's part of it. It's that Ozpin's keeping secrets, and he's probably telling him, like, oh, you know, I'll tell them later. I'll tell them later. And Oscar's like, you have to tell them now, dude. I'm 14. I'm, like, 14 years old and small and a child, and they're not going to believe me if I tell them these things, so they need to know what's going on. And I'm glad that someone's standing up to Ozpin. Like, he's done a lot of good, but it also appears he's done a lot of bad. Like, maybe made Salem in the first place. It's also weird that in the opening they had Salem, or the girl who would become Salem, staring up at a statue of Ozpin. Like, was he this famed hero? Did she strive to live in his footsteps only to fall, realize exactly how twisted and guarded he was as just the embodiment of distrust of humanity, and learn to become exactly what he feared because there was no other means? I don't know. I'm really hoping that it's not some like, oh, he wouldn't love me, so I became the embodiment of evil, so he'd have to pay attention to me. I'm really hoping it's not that, because that's just gonna be such a buzzkill. It's gonna be such a boner killer. Like, it would honestly just piss me off, and I'd be so disappointed with it at that point. So I'm really hoping that they're not gonna go that direction. Or, like, it could even, like, I'd be okay if it started like that and she was like, actually, you know what, I like being evil. Just as long as she's not doing it for a guy. Like, please. Which brings me to my next thing. Jin, also, I like her name. I like that reference, that subtle D&D thing, because Jin and D&D are the genies. Which is a neat reference. I do kind of wish she was wearing some clothes. That would be nice. I understand that it's, like, an aesthetic thing, and that, like, it's usually a case, but it's also the whole thing where it's like, oh, it's not technically nudity if they don't have nipples, and it's like, okay, yeah, I mean, I guess, but, like, I don't know. It kind of bugs me. Like, they could have given her, like, a shirt. Like, it doesn't even have to be, like, it could have been, like, some, because there's clearly some fairy fountain influence in there. It could have been, like, the Gerudo tops in Breath of the Wild, where it's just kind of, like, that little lace. It could have been a small thing, just put her in a shirt. But it also explains the statue that was in the thing at Haven, because at Haven it had Jin with the relic. She was pretty much depicted everywhere, so that explains that element of design, which is really cool. Also, I like that she's cheeky. She seems to be pretty cheeky, and she made the DreamWorks face, so I like her. I'm also wondering if they're each going to get a piece of the story, or if they're all going to get the full picture. I feel like most likely it's going to be a piece. But I also really like how they all reacted to being in that white space. It's very intriguing. I want to know... I really also liked who they called out for first. Because I was expecting RWBY to call out for Yang. But she didn't. She called out for Weiss, her partner. Blake called out for Yang, her partner. Yang called out for Blake. Weiss called out for RWBY and no one else. It's a nice touch. I really like it. Because, like, I would have expected RWBY to call out for her sister. But in all honesty, like... she's fighting mostly with Weiss. That's how it was at Beacon. Yeah, Team RWBY was a team, but it was RWBY and Weiss and Blake and Yang. These two pairs assembled as one greater group. So it makes sense that the person that she puts her lives in the hands of more makes sense. Also because Weiss was with her a little bit longer than I think. No, Yang and Weiss got there at the same time. But it makes sense, at least to me. Because I feel like there's still some distance between RWBY and Yang after RWBY going off to do things and Yang just being like, you know what, do whatever you want, I'm gonna sit here. Like, RWBY was worried about her, but, like, that does kind of get to you. It does, because it kind of hurts. It's like a major kick to the heart. But I really like that they called out for each other like that. And also, Crow's genuine... he wasn't sure what to do. Like, Also, the speed at which Weiss, Yang, and Blake drew on Crow. God damn. Weiss did not fuck around. Like, Blake had to get her sword out, Yang was getting ready, but Weiss, in a heartbeat, had Mertnister pointed at his fucking torso. Like, try me. I dare you to touch Ruby. And I love how down these girls are to protect one another, because honestly, women supporting women is so good. But I don't know, I really liked that. I really liked that. And just the hurt, because he was like, how they don't think that they could trust me, which makes sense, because no one's been telling them anything. No one's been telling them anything or letting them in on anything. It took so much coaxing for Crow to even tell them about his semblance. And at this point, they're like, who can we trust besides each other? And that's honestly, that's their circle of trust right now. It's just Team RWBY and Team Juniper to an extent, but they're not there right now. It's just a matter of everyone has kind of been lying to them or keeping secrets or lying through omission. And so the only thing that they can really rely on 100% is each other. And even then, Yang has that issue with Blake where she doesn't feel like she can entirely rely on Blake. And Blake's still getting used to relying on people. And that's definitely going to be an issue because when the ground is shattering beneath them, a la the Volume 3 opening, all they really have to cling to is each other. And I like that they're not turning on each other in that regard. They're not like, Weiss, you didn't tell me all of this stuff. It's like, no, hey, Weiss, this stuff is real messed up. Will you watch my back so I don't get stabbed? Like, it's nice. I mean, the whole situation is kind of rough for them, but... And I'm interested to see exactly what Salem is. So I guess the next one's probably going to be the fairy tale with Salem. Also, I hate my brain, because as soon as it was like there was a lonely girl named Salem, my brain just like started playing the opening of Shrek. And I really want to make that edit. Ozpin's gonna be pissed, but honestly, I could care less about him. Like, he's made mistakes, and he clearly was projecting onto Leo. Like I understand wanting to maintain the image of Leo that the public had in the paper. I understand that, but how defensive he got. He was defending his own actions as much as he was defending Leo, if not more. He was like, he made mistakes. Shouldn't he be defended for the person he was before this? It's like, yeah, you know, maybe. That should be taken into consideration. But like, you can do 1,000 good things, but if you do one really terrible thing afterwards, yeah, those good things weigh in. But depending on the severity of the last thing, it can severely cause some problems. And I think Ozpin's just hoping that there's some salvation for him at the end, because if he did, in fact, create Salem. And it's like, you need to stop worrying about what's going to happen to you and start worrying about what's going to happen to everyone else. And I think Ozpin's, at this point, is just very much in his head. And it's that whole thing that seems to happen whenever a character is more or less immortal, is that you become jaded to life and people and humanity, and you become numb to the loss of human life. And I think that's what happened with Ozpin. He's too worried about what's going to happen to him or how he's going to have to fix it next time, not what he can do this time. So I'm excited to see what happens. I'm also I really like Cinder's outfit in this one. She has so many outfits though. I'm cosplaying like 2 of them already, and it's like, oh no. The girl in purple with like the riding chaps was real pretty. She was real pretty. She reminds me of a character from something, and I don't remember what, but either way, she's very pretty, and I love her. You know what, honestly, you know what they're gonna do? They're gonna cut to Team Juniper. They're gonna cut to Team Juniper next episode. We're not gonna see what happens. We're not gonna learn about Salem next episode. They're gonna cut to Team Juniper, and we're gonna be like, well, thanks. In regards to my videos being blocked, I'm doing my best. I know that I'm hoping that when I check after I finish recording this, that my other one will be unblocked. I'm hoping that by the time this is up, it's unblocked. If it's not, if someone could link me to what you're supposed to do when your video is blocked, because I might be doing the wrong thing. I might be doing like the old way of doing it, because I sent in the request to fan projects and was like, hey, it's blocked, can it be unblocked? And I did the copyright stuff, and it didn't do anything, and it's still not doing anything. And like, I'm following the guidelines as far as I'm aware. I don't know if they changed them. If someone could send those to me, that'd be great. I don't know. Also, I hope you enjoyed my cat. That really caught me off guard, but that was like the best open that I could have gotten because of her. She's a good bean. But anyway, I hope you guys have a good week. I might be a little bit late. Hopefully not. I might be a little bit late next week with Chapter 3 because it's finals. I'm going into finals week, and usually finals is 2 weeks for me because art school and projects take forever. But I will... Oh my god, is next week? Huh. Yeah, so not, next week, I actually will be back home. Hopefully the lighting will be good. We'll find out. But I hope you guys have a fantastic week. If you guys are going into finals, like, wish you luck with that. And for all of you guys who are dealing with something very similar to me when, like, it gets colder and the day gets shorter, so for those of you who are dealing with a hearty dose of seasonal depression, I want you to know that you are valid, that you are doing, like, it's okay if you can't always, like, get yourself to do something, but it's just important to remember that, like, there are people who care about you. Like, if nothing else, I mean, I take note of people who watch my stuff and who comment. Like, if you don't think that there's anyone else, know that at least I care. And I know that's not much because I'm a person on a screen, but who knows, maybe it can help someone, I guess. But hope you guys have a good week.